Hey there, Tim here. How you doing, sweeties? So it is me once again. So I was thinking. So today I am going to talk about lore. Now, like, what is lore? Like, when it comes to VTubing, what is lore? Lore is basically just your flavor text. That's straight and simple. That's what it is. It's basically just when people ask about what your character is, that's what your lore is. So if you're like, in my case, I'm an Eldritch Dragon mob boss VTuber. Yes, that's very complicated, but that's what I am. Yes, I am a dragon. But like, that's what my lore is. In my opinion. Some people are like, it's the extra stuff, but no, that's just descriptor, but that's like where your lore kind of begins. So basically, the extra bit is kind of like, what is your character's backstory? That's the other half of it. Lore, in my opinion, comes in two parts, which is what you are, and the other one is how you got here. So in my lore is actually pretty simple. I am an Eldritch Dragon that was basically the product of an Eldritch Abomination and a Black Dragon, and yeah, that's how I got here. When I started, I was a little pudding cup. I was a little weird little thing. And the other half is I was over in a fantasy world doing, fantasy dragon things, and then I got summoned here by accident. And yeah, that's actually where my lore just kind of started. Now, some people like to give a valid reason as to why they're a VTuber in particular. Mine is just, I discovered the internet and decided to just start streaming. But the funny thing is that when I first started VTubing, like almost a year ago, that's kind of all there was to it, is I got accidentally summoned here and that's it. So the thing is about your lore, right? Because some people have a lot more than that. Some people actually take their OCs that have extensive backstories, and that is their lore. I have that, but not really. Like, okay, how do I explain this? Basically, the world I came from does have lore. There's a lot to it, but I actually don't really do much with it with my current character. But I like to write a lot of stories there. No, I will not be posting those stories anywhere. But like, lore-wise, if people ask, like, what did my character used to do, or stuff like that. Like, another thing I have is, I have a lot of lore NPCs, basically, which you can too. You can have lore NPCs, where in my case, I have like bards that live in my stomach. My stomach down there in my gut. Because being that I'm a half Eldritch Abomination, the space has little meaning to me. So there's an entire just world living in my gut. No, I don't have to explain it. It's magic. Which is why I like to eat people. Because it's not like I'm going to digest or anything. It's just really fun to have you in there. But that's another thing that people don't really think about when they have their lore, is they don't think about how it can change and evolve. Like in my case, the mob boss thing actually happened pretty recently, all things considered. The story with that is that a friend of mine was being kind of stalked by a mobster, and I did not realize that at the time. And the former mob boss of my mafia basically was trying to date her, and I'm like, no, and so I punched him out. And his subordinates are like, wow, she's way stronger. We're just gonna be her we're gonna be her mafia instead. And that's why I got him up and a house. Yeah, that's it. So that's actually something that happened later. That was not something I planned for. It's just something, like, originally I was planning on becoming like kind of a secretary, but that just did not work out. It did not work out. Nobody was worthy of being my boss. So that's kind of how I got here. And that's how you got me as a mob boss. Everyone started calling me boss, or mommy anyway. So I just accepted it. And I'm actually pretty decent as a mafia boss. Like, all my mob is like my family and my children that I adopted. Now, that's my lore. Again, your lore can basically be anything you want. Yes, you weird god modding weirdos out there who are like, I am the ultimate MacGuffin. Yeah, that could be your lore too, I guess. But one thing, now this is a pet peeve of mine. When you're making your lore, don't try to force people into it, please. Like, when I first started, I remember, it was a long time ago, but there was like some guy who's just like, oh, well, if you're Eldritch and from the Abyss, you have to fight other abyssal monsters to level up or some BS. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. I'm not from here, Like, when you're making your lore, please don't try to co-opt people into your lore just for weird power reasons. Just don't do that. Like there's this, my thing is like everyone's like a god or a demon or some crap. You don't have to do that. And that's actually a personal pet peeve. Do not co-opt my lore without my permission, please. Don't just be like, well, eldritch creatures are like this, that means you are like this. I'm like, no, I am not. I am not from here. You do not know the dimension that I came from, and those who keep acting like you do, you don't. So, don't do that, please. At least that's my personal pet peeve. Don't do that to me. I hate that. Do not just be like, you created the world that I came from. You didn't. You don't know what the world I came from is like. Stop acting like you do just so you can try to pretend to have power over me. It doesn't work. I hate that so much. But like, that's the thing. You know, your lore could be pretty much anything you want within reason. You know, now you can, if people want to be a part of your lore, like in my lore, I have a lot of evolving lore, which your lore can evolve over time. New stuff can happen to it. Like in mine, I ended up with a lot of just really interesting people in my mafia now. You know, I have I have basically a magical enchanted zebra who thinks he's a god, so that's something. I have a lot of adoptive children, including a Fumo, who's an evil stuffed, he's like an evil stuffed plushie. He's so cute. Oh god, Sooner I love you. I have a Cass, who's he's also eldritch. Like, I actually have no idea what the crap he is, but he's also like an eldritch dark being. He keeps eating the sun. I can't stop him. He keeps doing it. You know, like fun stuff like that happens at my house, where there's a bunch of just powerful beings living under the same roof, blowing up the house. You know, it's very zany, but like it's fun though. You know, like. Just, it's fun. You know, I like that. I also made and this is something I personally did. This is not something you have to do either. I actually have a setting that that all my lore takes place in, which is called New Brightston. That's actually the city that I live in. And anybody could just come and live there. It's a very interesting place. I have like a very sexy tailor who is the reason that I have my remaining buttons have not bumped off into the atmosphere, because I used to have 3 buttons. Yes, my 3rd button has lore. I like jumped or something and that thing flew off so fast it got isekai into another dimension. I don't know where that button is. But yeah, I used to have 3, now I only have 2. But he's the one who makes my clothes. Hi, Cowdy. But like, stuff like that is fun lore-wise. You know, you don't, need lore really. You know, because some people would be like, do I need lore to be a successful VTuber? So I'm going to talk about that. No, you don't. You don't need lore at all. But it's fun if you do. Mainly because lore is like seasoning. You don't really need it. You don't really need seasoning in theory, but it's good to have it. It definitely enhances things. But if you have too much, it's nasty. You know, just have just enough. You know, like, so if you're literally like, I am a eternal Phoenix VTuber, but I got no lore, I'm like, okay. Now, if you're like, Finn the human, then you don't really need any lore. But if you're like anything else, you don't need to have complicated lore. You could literally just be like, look, some random scientist created me in a lab, and here I am. Bam, there's your lore. You know, like, it doesn't have to be anything extensive, but it definitely helps add to your character. You know, it makes things a lot more fun. Like in my case, like the way my lore is kind of incorporated into my character is the fact that I keep talking about eating people. You know, because I'm a dragon. As much as people don't want to admit it, dragons are kind of known for a couple of things, including lighting fires, kidnapping people, and eating people. You know, so that helps inform my lore. You know, so if I don't know what to talk about, sometimes I'm just like, I mean, that's kind of like why during my streams the butter is a thing. Don't tell my chat. Don't tell my chat. I'm actually just adding butter to them so I can eat them one day. They don't know. They just think it's funny. But yeah, you know, or just stuff like that. Like, people asking me about my past, or the fact that like my freaking dad who's a dragon, had to deal with the fact that he had a weird half eldritch abomination child thing, just kind of trying to eat all the watermelons. You know, that's fun stuff to talk about. You know, like it's a lot of fun. But again, your lore doesn't always have to be necessarily what you came from, but it can just be like just simple things they do. Like for example, I know Triple J, who basically is an experiment, so it allows him to get really interesting with his lore, you know. Like, he's an experiment, so he's not really limited when it comes to his form, and he can also turn into a cat boy, which is why he's so cute. Or like let's see, I know a lot of people, I also just love listening to lore. And again, you don't have to be any type of non-human, because like Gumshoe Gamer, he's a human, and he's really interesting, honestly. I like that he's a detective, so his lore is really interesting. He even has this cute little robot. It's called Java. I love it. The consistency. Lore also kind of helps you stay consistent. And not only that, but it also makes outfit designs fun. Like, for example, like in my case, because I am a mobster, it actually kind of informs what kind of new outfits I'll get. Like, I'm playing a new outfit right now. So that's kind of why my clothing choices tend to skew towards classy versus, I don't know, medieval Dutch barns. I don't know. But like, that's kind of how lore, if you want to think of lore, because lore seems intimidating until you actually start doing it. But it's literally just flavor text. It's like, what is some things that helps inform you about my character? You know? Like, why do I have gigantic bushy hair? Don't worry about it. But it does explain why I have a torn tail and turn into an eldritch monster sometimes. You know? Which people have seen my eldritch form before. Not full form. Just like the most I can get away with in this dimension. You know, which, fun fact, I'm actually not as powerful as I am in the original, in the place I was born in. So the place I got summoned from, I'm actually way more powerful over here. This dimension actually puts limitations on me, so I'm actually not as strong here as I am there, which is also why I look a bit more human. See? Fun lore things. So, and I'm also not really combat based, so there's that. But just think of it that way. You know, again, you don't need a lore, but having it could literally be as simple as, you know, I was created by a spice ball. What's a spice ball? I don't know. You know, or like, it also helps like just inform like what kind of rooms you have. Like, for example, my room is actually full of little lore bits. You know, it's full of little lore bits. So like that weird beefy arm that my tail is hiding, like the let me see if I can move a little bit so I could show you. Like that thing over there, that big beefy arm over there, that has a story. No, I'm not gonna say what that story is. You'll have to tune in next time to figure that out. No, you don't. I'm not gonna talk about it. But yeah, McBeefy arm over there is a thing. You know, but or like the other stuff I have around here is just all kinds of magical MacGuffins. And no, don't steal them. Like the last one who tried to steal stuff from me now lives in my closet. Hi, kitty. But yeah, but like, and again, but more than anything else, again, it's just flavor text. And if you find that, you know, your design, your lore is not really suiting your current vibe that you want, you can actually just change it. You don't have to be locked into the lore you made for yourself. People rebrand all the time. Some people literally go from being dragons to demons to mer people to werewolves. It doesn't matter. Just be what you want to be. And if that means changing your lore, changing your backstory, no one's really going to be like, excuse me, like 2 years ago you were a wolf and now you're a cat boy. What is this? That's not no one cares. No one really cares. Just do what you want to do, you know? But that's basically all I have to say on it, is that long TLDR, lore is just flavor. You don't need it, but it's good if you do. You can change it if you want. Become a different dish. Get in my stomach. I mean, don't worry about that. But what are your thoughts? What is your lore? Yes, I know some people have told me their lore. Tell me again. I actually just like lore. But what is your lore? Do you not have lore? What are you afraid of when it comes to it? You know, do you hate lore? Do you wish just people would stop talking about it? Tell me in the comments below. But that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed my video, like, subscribe, I don't know, share with your grandma, I don't know. I stream on Twitch Wednesdays and Fridays, 5 p.m. EST. Yeah, that's it. But thank you very much for stopping by. Again, it is Semi, Eldritch Dragon, mob boss with lore. Hey, if you don't have lore, I can give you some lore. I could just give you lore. I gave lore to a Pop-Tart. I can do it. Okay, but that's it. Love you very much. Bye. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.